Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, I'm Rebecca. Today we're going to be heading to the kitchen and we're going to make my favorite muffin, which is a Raisin Bran Muffin. Now I've already shared with you another recipe where I use Raisin Bran cereal to do a really quick adaptation of this recipe. It helps to use up some cereal you may have in the pantry, and it makes a lovely muffin as well. Today I'm going to share with you a from scratch whole grain recipe that is quick, easy, and deliciously hearty. So let's head to the kitchen so we can make my favorite type of muffin, which is a Raisin Bran Muffin. Now this is a from scratch recipe for Raisin Bran Muffins, and it's a great way to use up some fresh milled flour, or if you have some dark wheat bran as well. Now I like to order my wheat berries and other such pantry staples in bulk, and just recently I had another order come in. I was getting kind of low on numerous wheat berries in my pantry, and so I picked up some more dark wheat bran. So this is what I order, and I have enough to fill up a nice canister in my pantry with that, and I always have a little bit extra. So when I have that little bit extra, then I like to make my favorite muffins with that. I also have another recipe for some homemade graham crackers where I use that as well. So we'll be using up that little bit of extra dark wheat bran today for making these muffins. So first, in a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add the wet ingredients. And I'm going to be doing a double batch today, but I'll give you the amounts for making a single batch. The single batch will make 1 dozen muffins, so you can duplicate the recipe as many times as you want to make however many dozen muffins you want. If you do mini muffins, and make about 2 dozen mini muffins. So in this mixing bowl, to make a single batch, you'll add 1 cup of milk, and a 1/3 cup of a neutral oil. So avocado oil works well for this. You could also use vegetable oil or canola oil. Then I'll add 2 eggs for a single batch. And a 1/4 cup of molasses. I'll mix all these ingredients together. To this, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and 3/4 of a cup of wheat bran, and a 1/2 cup of old-fashioned oats or rolled oats. Now we'll mix these in with the wet ingredients. We're going to set this aside and allow that to set up for about 20 minutes. Now in another mixing bowl, we're going to add some more of our dry ingredients. So in here I have, for a single batch, you'll put 1 1/4 cup of flour. To that you'll add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I'll just stir these ingredients together. And once our wet mixture has been sitting for about 20 minutes, we'll come back for the next step and continue to make our homemade Raisin Bran Muffins. All right, our wet mixture has been sitting for about 20 minutes here. You can see that the wheat bran and the oats have kind of absorbed some of this liquid. It's a little bit of a thicker mixture now. So now we can add our dry ingredients that we have in this bowl to our wet ingredients here. This will make our Raisin Bran Muffin batter. And then finally we'll add our raisins. So you can add a 1/2 cup to a cup if you like a lot of raisins in there. And we'll just mix the raisins in till they're well distributed into our batter. There we go. So now I have some silicone muffin pans on a baking sheet here, or a cookie sheet, and I'm just going to scoop the batter into these muffin pans. One medium scoop usually does the trick. Meanwhile, I have the oven preheating to 375 degrees. And since I'm doing a double batch, I'm going to fill up my second muffin pan. And just to use up the batter, I usually go back and top off any of the muffin pan reservoirs that are a little low. All right, so the oven is preheated to 375 degrees. So now I'm going to bake these for about 30 minutes, or until a toothpick comes out nice and clean and they're nice and golden brown on top. So let's get these into the oven to bake. All right, our homemade Raisin Bran muffins have finished baking. They took about 30 minutes to get to this point. The toothpick came out nice and clean, and they have a nice golden brown color to the top. So what I'm going to do is allow these muffins to cool slightly in the muffin pan. Then I'm going to turn them out onto the cooling rack that they're sitting on, and then we can plate some up and have a closer look at our homemade Raisin Bran muffins. All right, here we have our homemade Raisin Bran muffins. This is my favorite variety of muffins, and this is made homemade from scratch using some dark wheat bran as well as some wheat flour. You could also use all-purpose flour as well. This has a nice, hearty, and rich flavor to it, and with that added molasses and raisins, it's a really nutritious and delicious breakfast or snack. So pair this with some yogurt or maybe some fresh fruit. This is a lovely little breakfast. You can also have this as a snack, packed into lunches, you name it. So let me just take a closer look at our homemade Raisin Bran muffin. Nice and soft inside with that moisture from the molasses and raisins. This is a really delicious muffin. You can also check out a recipe I have on how I made Raisin Bran muffins using Raisin Bran cereal. If you'd like more ideas or inspiration on other homemade muffins and other baked goods, you can check out my playlist on the topic. I also have playlists on various recipes, food preservation methods, gardening, and home decor organization. So if you're new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I'd really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button below and continue to watch my channel, The Home and Homestead, for some more homemade, homegrown, and home style inspiration. Well, I hope that you're having a wonderful day. See you next time. Take care.